a bit embarrassing. I can't remember the day, isn't it? Whoops. We are about 70 days out from tour. I thought it would be useful to kind of go over where we are with things, just to give an idea of just how manic things can be behind the scenes and to give an insight into what we do. So this week I am ideally going to see 2 venues, one of which is a vicarage, and of course a lot of priests nowadays work with a lot of communities. So it might be that from this one meeting where I go and see this church again, we get a number of other communities involved with this summer's tour, and another one is a more city venue. We'll see how both go. It's quite scary to not have all of our venues finalised yet. There are a lot of ones where we know it's basically fine, but we are sitting on our hands a bit. We can't do anything until other people confirm, and they can't confirm until other people move, and so there's a lot of just kind of sitting and waiting and knowing it will be fine, and we always do find a way. I think in November we managed to find a venue 10 days before the show was meant to happen. So things always do come through, but there's always this fear and worry about the gamble you're about to take, because it is a gamble. We're doing theatre. You're betting that people will like the thing which you're going to see, and you have to put all of the expenditure before the show begins. And so that's very hard to stay sane in, particularly when that's kind of been the situation for about 6 weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks. I mean, ideally I would have loved that all of our venues to half be confirmed by mid-February. We're now a month over, and I doubt it's going to happen before April. At the same time, we are also waiting to hear back from funders. But also we have to go gung-ho ahead with our casting, which is going well. We've had some great applications, but it's all very bizarre. I battle with this, and I think that we probably all do, but I battle with the fact that we are often promising a quality project which we can't yet absolutely be certain we will deliver. You know, to actors, we are promising a certain salary. We know the financials and the numbers tell us it will work, and that, you know, we are prioritising payments, we're prioritising this kind of stuff. But projections are projections. It's predicting the future, and which person ever said that was relying on predicting the future is ever a good idea? A world war might happen. Similarly, the venues, we will find a way through, but we just don't know. There are so many unconscious variables at the moment that it makes everything very disconcerting. It's this weird thing that you constantly feel like you are fighting a battle on all sides, and you don't feel like you're making any progress at all. And then you look back from 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks ago, 6 months ago, and suddenly you realise how far you've come. But it doesn't feel at the time, at the moment, like we're making much progress. But we just have to trust, and trust in the vision, and trust in what we're doing, and go from there. The other fun kind of bit of this job as a founder, but also is that when work is your play and play is work, I try often to weave the things I'm interested in into the work I am doing, so that I can point certain things in a direction, which means that I can have a lot of enjoyment through the work I do, even though it can feel very tough at times. So part of that is, for example, that we're doing our shop at the moment, and I've always been interested in handcraft and bookbinding and in this kind of stuff. And so this week, in some of my off time, I am doing some product research into how to cheaply bind things and make cards or make this kind of stuff, which we could sell in the shop if I can work out how. But it all feels like it can feed into Troubadour, which at least keeps me sane while you are waiting on things which you can't control. Waiting on those kind of responses to come back, which you have no control over, particularly with grant applications, where you have no idea. Arts Council, you have no clue whether you will be liked, lucky, whether you've hit the particular zeitgeist they're looking for. You know, you can try, you can guess, you can research to the nth degree all of the stuff which they're asking for at the moment. You don't know. And you need to stay sanguine about that, and that's hard. So there's a lot of deep water at the moment, I think is probably the way to put it. There's a weird thing about grants, actually, where they seem to all kind of go in batches. So everyone's out either kind of every twice a year or 4 times a year, which is when the trustees meet and decide, on grants, and then you all get told whether or not you succeeded. But they all happen at the same time, which I suppose makes sense because someone's kind of said, quarterly, and we're going to do it around March because that's spring, and then we're going to do it in June, and it's whatever. But I always find it very bizarre that, in effect, you need to get all of your rounds of grant applications in before kind of February for them all to be read in March so that your show in June can happen. Like, the amount of kind of lead time on some of this stuff is extraordinary, and we have missed a few of those now. So at the moment we're wondering whether we should start putting applications in for other jobs, for other projects which are upcoming, but that's also very odd to think about because at the moment I'm entirely consumed in the tour, which we have to plan, but of course work will be happening after the tour as well, so how much focus do we give to that and how much do we not? And there's a lot of unknowns and of touching ground and of experimenting with different aspects, which you wouldn't imagine. The amount of stuff you have to do behind the scenes to run a theatre company. Fun. Oh, casting. That's the other thing which has been going on this week. We're in the midst of doing it. We've had some great applications. And one aspect I'm moved by, and also when we cast, I always want to respond to everyone, whether or not we can take people forward for another round, because it is so soul destroying to spend, hours sometimes applying to a role, to a job, and not even to get an acknowledgement back or a response of any kind. And it's been lovely, but also, again, like it hurts a little to, we sent out some emails yesterday, I think, and the responses of people saying they were so pleased just to have been responded to. And what kind of industry are we where just a simple kind of response saying thank you for your application, we can't take it further is welcomed, because the normal thing is that no one gets anything. That's sad, to state the obvious. But yeah, again, that's weird. I always find casting one of the most nerve-wracking elements of this industry, because you're in effect gambling with your happiness for the next few weeks. You're gambling with your shows. What if you choose the wrong person? If you choose the wrong person, if you choose the wrong bad apple, particularly on a tour where you are so close together all the time, that is difficult. There's nothing you can particularly do nor say. If you're, working together fully and you don't get on, or there's someone who isn't entirely suited to this quite hard way of life, and we need to make all of those decisions on strangers, which is scary on a lot of fronts. There's a lot of unknown. I think this is the week of unknowns. Let's put it that way. Onwards to the next one. Ooh, check that exposure, the aperture. I'd love to be a witch. It'd be so cool.